Hey friends, I hope y'all are having a great day today. If you're new, my name is Alicia and I'd like to welcome you to my last video of 2024. Haha. Anyways, today's video is going to be a $35 budget video. It's like more of a realistic budget for a family of my family size. We have technically 10 people, one's a newborn. Anyways, we're not going to get into that. I hope y'all enjoy, and let's get started before I ramble anymore. Here's a quick look at everything we got. So there's a head of garlic, a small zucchini, 3 Roma tomatoes, 3 apples, a yellow bell pepper, yellow onion, a half a gallon of milk, a 2-pound bag of broccoli cuts, a 2-pound bag of frozen french fries, a large pork loin that they charged me a different price for. They actually charged me $9 and something instead of the $10 that it shows. There's a can of spaghetti sauce, 3 boxes of macaroni and cheese, a box of cake mix, a 1-pound box of pasta, a dozen of eggs, 2 pounds of rice, and 2 loaves of French bread. I will have a full shopping list and all the recipes that I'm using in the description box. The first thing we're making is actually one of the dinners, and it's loosely based on a Peruvian recipe. I'll put the name on the screen. It is very loosely based on this recipe, so of course it's not going to be traditional at all. But anyways, it was really good. So you're going to start off by putting your fries in the air fryer or oven. You can make fries however you want. Anyways, so then you're going to cut up your bell pepper, and I find that if you cut the top off of it, you can kind of scoop out all of the seeds and everything and use the whole entire bell pepper and not get seeds everywhere. And then we're going to cut up the tomatoes and then the onion and a few cloves of garlic or one very large one. The recipe I'm using does not call for garlic, but it also calls for an entirely different yellow pepper, and it calls for like beefsteak tomatoes. So it's not entirely the same, but you can make any substitutions to any recipe to fit your budget or what you have on hand. You're also going to take half of your pork loin and chop it into strips, and then you're also going to want to take any large pieces of fat off of it. I'm going to season this with salt and pepper, and for the sauce you will need soy sauce and vinegar. Another substitution is this recipe is typically made with beef and not pork. So we're going to start by frying up our pork in a large pot or skillet, and you can do this in batches if you wish. The recipe says to cook the meat until the juices start to release, and so that's what I did, and I'm trying to get it a little browned. If you want more brown bits, I suggest doing it in batches or 2 skillets. But anyway, so we're just going to cook this until some parts are brown and the juices release. Once you're to that point, you will take the pork out of your skillet and leave behind all those juices, and then you'll add your veggies that we chopped up to the skillet. I'm actually going to give my onions and bell peppers a fair bit of a head start because it won't take any time at all for those tomatoes to break down, and also those tomatoes are going to add a lot more liquid to the pan, so I'm hoping to get some of this other liquid to evaporate out before adding the tomatoes in. Once the onions and peppers have had a nice head start and most of the liquid has evaporated out, I'm going to add my tomatoes and let those cook down for a few minutes, and then I will add in my garlic. I'm just going to let the garlic saute for a few minutes, get nice and fragrant, and then I will be adding in some parsley, a few tablespoons of soy sauce, almost half a cup of vinegar, which I was very nervous about. I did not know if my family was going to like this recipe at all, but we all loved it. I'm just saying that in case you're nervous about the vinegar, like I was. It doesn't have a strong vinegar flavor. If you like Mississippi pot roast, then I think that you'll like this recipe because it's got that same kind of taste to it, in my opinion. Just in case y'all are wondering, my co-hosts may be able to be heard. They are guineas, chickens, turkeys, ducks. If you hear any noises like that, they're just my co-stars. They're chiming in. Anyways, I don't remember where I left off. You're going to let all of these things simmer together for a little while, and then you're supposed to add the french fries to this and let them kind of get soggy in the mixture. I didn't like that idea because I figured it wasn't very, it felt wrong to make french fries that we just purposely made crispy, make them get soggy in the sauce. So we served ours kind of like nacho style. And also for my kids, I served theirs on the side. The reason I did that is because I know for a fact they love french fries, so it made it easier for them to try the meat and vegetable mixture with fries on the side. Or in my mind, that's how it worked. Anyways, we all love this and I can't wait to have it again. Here is one of the breakfast ideas, or one of the breakfasts that we had out of the ingredients that we had. 10 eggs, add a good amount of milk to the eggs. We're making scrambled eggs and rice. The rice amount that I'm showing y'all, I'm just making up 1 cup of rice. You can actually make up to 2.5 cups of rice because that's about half of the bag. That is only 1 cup of rice cooked. I'm just showing you like a sweetened rice. You just add sugar and butter to it. Anyways, rice and scrambled eggs. It was delicious. So this is the other breakfast I made, and I will go ahead and tell y'all that I was very distracted during making this breakfast. We were all working on a Pokemon Christmas puzzle, and here in just a second you'll notice that I pour way too much milk in this bowl, but it all turned out great. It actually ended up being like a custard toast. Yeah, I looked away completely and I was like, oh wow, I did not mean to do that. But we rolled with it. It looks like I burn it, but it actually turned out great. The apples I just cooked down with a small amount of water and a little bit of that honey butter. I just wanted to use that up because my family didn't really care for it, and so I just got it out of my fridge. But regular would do too. The next recipe we're making is the second dinner, and it is honey garlic pork, and this was amazing. So you'll want to cut the pork loin down into strips and cut off any large amounts of fat, and then we're going to fry it up in batches in our skillet until it's nice and browned. And we're also going to I'm making 3 cups of rice on the side. That is way too much. For my family, I would do a maximum of 2.5 cups next time because it was way too much for the skillet that I'm even using. Anyways, I'm talking way too much. So just season the pork with salt and pepper and cook it in batches. Get it nice and browned on both sides if you can. You also don't want to use too much oil for this. I didn't have my heat up high enough to get a nice browning on both sides, but it all turned out amazing. Anyways, I'm also going to be cooking all of the broccoli for this meal, but we're not going to be eating it all for this meal because some of it we're going to save for one of the lunches. For the rice, I'm just doing 3 cups of water. No, 3 cups of rice, 6 cups of water. You'll let it come up to a boil. You'll put the lid on and turn the heat way down and let it simmer for 10 minutes, and then turn the heat completely off and let it sit there for another 10 minutes. I couldn't find any of my 1 cup measuring cups, and so I probably ended up cooking more than 3 cups of rice. Actually, it turned out great, but it was way too much. My skillet, the starchy water, went over onto my stovetop, and it was kind of a mess. Anyways, I'm going to quit rambling your ears off now. Now that this batch of pork has cooked, I'm going to add it all together. That way I can use the bowl for the sauce that I'm about to make. So I've just minced up a whole bunch of our garlic. There's only like 2 or 3 cloves left after all of this, so most of the head of garlic. And then I'm going to add soy sauce, honey. I'm also going to be adding salt and pepper. You could also add garlic powder, onion powder, or ginger if you have those things on hand. It was delicious without them, but I can't picture that they would make it taste worse. But anyways, so then I'm going to cook the pork with the sauce for a little bit, and then I'm going to add in some sesame seeds. Those are completely optional. If you don't have them, just omit them, and it will not change the recipe at all. Here's a look at everything completed. That is a 3-quart pot and is completely filled with rice. So just way too much for one meal for my family currently. But anyways, this was amazing. Here's a look at my bowl slash plate. Here is one of the lunches that I made. I just started out by boiling the pasta, and then I'm going to cut up one of my zucchinis. I didn't feel like chopping up garlic on this day, so I'm just going to add a little bit of garlic. That I have the minced kind, and so I'm going to add it and just saute the zucchini and then add some garlic, and then I'm going to add in the can of pasta sauce. I'm sure y'all can see where I'm going with this. And then I'm also going to make some garlic bread up on the side, and you'll notice the garlic bread I'm using is actually already prepared garlic bread. You just could make it out of the French loaf though, of course. Here's the other lunch recipe. I just made up all 3 boxes of the macaroni and cheese, and you could chop up the broccoli and add it into it. I just served it on the side because my kids like it better that way. Now we're making a little treat with the cake mix. You're just going to take the box of cake mix, half a cup of oil, and our remaining 2 eggs, and just scoop it out onto cookie trays. And these turned out really good. They definitely taste like cake though. Alright guys, that's all for this video. I hope that y'all all had a Merry Christmas, and I hope that each and every one of y'all has a happy and safe New Year. But above all, the most important part of this video is that Jesus loves y'all, and I love y'all too. And I'll see you next year. Bye.